Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another video, and something a little bit different, because today we're going to be asking, was F1 2020 an underrated game? A game that came out, well, pretty much through lockdowns and, but was it an underrated game? Do we forget how good this game was when we look at today's F1 22, only 2-3 years later? Will we look back in future years and say this was a good game when we come back to play, obviously, these old F1 games in the future? That is what we're going to have a little look at today. Now, menu system pretty much the same as it has been. Obviously no F1 Life, so I mean they didn't spend all their time on F1 sofa simulator, as we've claimed all these trophies, which you can now arrange in F1 Life as opposed to through just your super license. We've had the podium pass as well, as much as you hate it. In actual fact, the podium pass on this particular game was actually very good. For those of you that have been crying out for MyTeam on this channel, well, here we go. We're going to bring Phoenix Grand Prix back from the dead, and have a go in an episode of MyTeam to check that out. This Donny, though, has been in the game since F1 2016. I'm pretty sure he's still there now. But yeah, of course, this was the game when MyTeam launched as well. We still had the likes of cutscenes, classic cars. F2 was also slightly a lesser thing. You had these obviously the main sponsors, which pretty much this screen is still the same as it has been throughout F1 2021 and F1 22. I'm hoping now, as we move to F1 23, we see something that's different for sponsors as well. This screen hasn't changed either. Changed selection of power unit as well. Somehow Ferrari had 94 performance over everyone else, even though this is 2020 and Ferrari were terrible. Why they have the better performance? They should be the worst on the grid, even slower than Renault were. The fact of the matter is, I think Leclerc picked up 2 podiums, I think, was it? Didn't he get lucky or something as well? And then, of course, our teammate. And this game also was good because it had Mahavir Raghunathan, the GOAT of all GOATs, as well. Tatiana Calderon, the only female person ever to be in an F1 game by Codemasters as well. Obviously got Mick Schumacher, Zhou Guanyu, Nick De Vries, all of which were, well, in the case of Nick De Vries making his debut, but the rest of them already made their debuts in Formula 1 since this game came out. As well, I mean, to be fair, choosing the F2 drivers hasn't changed either. It'd be nice if we could pick other drivers, but of course there's only one option we can pick. And then we've got the podium pass liveries, and looking at all of these, I think that I will stand by this, and we might have to do an F1 22 episode just to see. I don't know what this livery is all about, but the liveries in this were the best liveries that they've ever had, and it's such a shame that I can say this year on year with the podium pass liveries that they don't keep the ones that they've had on the previous year game and transfer them. Yes, I know we've had new cars for this year, so it's a little bit more, but the favourite ones that people keep on using, there are some cracking liveries here as well. This Shard's one's very nice as well. This one's a little bit junky with the cutout, but yes. Let me know which of the 3 games that we've had so far, or 4 actually, because we had F1 2019 as well for online only. Let me know which of those 4 games do you think is the best to have, just without no mods included, just the game, base game itself, which is the best livery.
Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now, we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over. Every team needs 2 drivers, but what was it that drew you to your teammates?
The fact that he is one of the greatest F2 drivers that we have ever had. A man who only can do a 65-point turn at Baku as well. And then of course we've got the menu, same menu as it is. We've got the R&D tree as well. The last game to have the R&D tree as opposed to the blocky things I got now. And yeah, I know it's nice to see that thing, but you know, to plan your upgrades, this was a great tree, and I stand by we should have the R&D tree back as well, or something similar, where it links together as opposed to this junky. I think it's a bit chunky the way it is now, and also they've all got the same blobs. They don't. So where you've got like different like the hexagons and the squares and the rectangles to sort of tell you, oh, this is a minor upgrade, this is a major upgrade, this is an ultimate upgrade. They haven't got that in the current F1 games as well. But of course, there are, you know, stuff the thing, and also telling you where you are in each of the departments. They don't tell you that unless you actually purchase an upgrade. Helmet wise as well, I stand by again, just like the liveries. The helmets on this year's game are terrible. Compare this. We've got so much choice on F1 2020 as well. Even gloves. You know, I've picked this gloves up. Get these. Look, you've got the same game. Just get all of these gloves in the game. But anyway, rant over about that. We're here to play F1 2020, and you know, these gloves actually look pretty nice, and we've wearing some helmet. Now it's time to pick our pose. So just quickly on our livery, simple livery. I've gone with one of the ones that looks more like an F1 livery, as opposed to, I think works well with the sponsors, as opposed to one of those one-off flame liveries that they've got. You know, yes, these, as I said, these liveries are the best as well. Sponsor placement pretty much the same as it is in today's F1 game. And also we've got the HQ, which is exactly the same cutscenes and exactly the same things, only with the pit stop thing that's been added as well. Practice programs, no quick practice on this game, so we've got all 6 practice. We have got R&D objectives though, which I suppose are a bit more realistic compared to what we have now with just the 3, and then you've got quick practice. But you know, I like quick practice and also the reductions you get, I suppose. The only downside, this is F1 2020, it might have some of the best liveries, but unfortunately Mercedes are dominant, so they are going to win every race on this game, because nobody else, it feels like, you know, like Max Verstappen in F1 22. And straight away we're going to have a little race around a track that everyone's forgotten about, Vietnam, and a track that doesn't look like it's ever going to be back. Well, I was reading an article the other day. A great start though. This is the starts I want to be making on F1 22 that I can't actually make on F1 22 because the AI get OP start every time as well. We'll have a look around the outside. Ricardo trying to switch down the inside. Now he's going to close the door as well. Never really liked the circuit actually, which is why I dropped it from my driver career mode calendar as well. We're going to switch from right to left though. Get Ricardo down the inside, and he tries to turn in on me. The AI, of course, yes, that was an aggressive move by Ricardo, but they are slightly less aggressive on this year's on F1 2020 compared to F1 22. As well as Sainz gets past Leclerc, very nice move there. We're going to have a look at Leclerc now to the inside and try. I'll look a little bit of science not doing it there. We forced Leclerc out as well. The only problem with Vietnam as well is you are a sitting duck. I was always a sitting duck down that main straight. We've got 3 wide between ping pong between Ricciardo and Leclerc there in the Renault as well. But sadly, for them, I keep the position and retain P8 in our car. Bit of understeer there as Leclerc. Is he going to have a look at the inside? We go a bit wide. He does have a look at the inside, but just like what Ricciardo did to us, we're going to do the same to Leclerc. A little bit of understeer there, and we force Leclerc out. Next up, Leclerc's been bashed off by Ricciardo now. You can see that Ricciardo has front wing damage, and we're going to dive down the inside, keep the position so far, and retain P8 as well. And then we jump to the final lap then. As I say, a little jaunt down memory lane of Vietnam. As well, again, Ricciardo tries to get it. It has DRS, of course, so OP around this circuit, but then we do hold the position. And then we're coming up to, the final sector, which I actually hated just because of the oversteer that you get. But, if you had a maxed out car, this would be such a nice sector because it'd be very flowy and you had the steering. As shock surprise, Lewis Hamilton has won the Grand Prix, as well as we come through then for P8 and some points in this episode and race. So yeah, nice to get some points for the team for Phoenix Grand Prix, of course, as well as driver of the day goes to another GOAT. Point out the secondary sponsor screen as well, same screen as they got in F122 as well. I'm pretty sure it's all the same weekly goals as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, they might have added a few, but they haven't since F1 2020. This was a brand new game mode. They haven't expanded on MyTeam a lot. Basically, they've added 2 things as well. Classic cars. No longer in the F1 game. These great cars and classics for the S2 here, even in F1 2010, they need to be back in the F1 game. I won't show you too much classic cars because that was last Friday's video. I'll try and remember to leave an I thing so you can go and check it out if you haven't already as well. Then we've got the driver market. No focus stats on this game, which I suppose is actually good because the focus stats, what I've seen, is always broken. It's never actually worked in either F1 2021 or F1 22 as well. Just thinking about our teammate, obviously we still got this thing, just like in F1 22, where you've got to sign your teammate before you get your prize money.
Alright, listen up everyone. They've announced that the technical regulations are changing for next season. Now there's a risk a lot of our hard work could be undone if we're not careful, so let's figure out how to mitigate this. Drivers, take a look at the developments we have and let us know what you want to invest in protecting. Alright everyone, let's get on top of this.
Now you see, this game also had cutscenes as well. Unfortunately though, it also had Claire.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. It's got to be a relief to qualify that far up the grid.
I mean, wherever we qualified, yes.
How do you feel the competition is for you this season?
You've asked me that question 16,000 times.
The regulation changes for next season have been announced. How is your team going to cope with the transition?
We haven't upgraded anything on the durability.
Appreciate your time.
Well, at least she hasn't signed it. Nice to see Claire back there, because they removed her for F1 22 as well. We're going to assign the best AI driver I've ever had, teammate that I've ever had, and that's Lando Norris, the only man that's ever really threatened to walk all over me in any career mode that I've ever had. As well, we've only been, and that was back on F1 2021. Obviously, Gasly's starting to gain momentum on F1 22 driver career mode, but you know, in the early part of the season we walked all over us, and we'd outsigned Lando for this particular career mode. You know, again, that that buyout system is the same system that's still in use, and then of course we picked a different livery as well, and you can see all the sponsors as well, and you've got these sponsors you can pick on the rear wing, etc, etc, etc. You know, that, you know, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of people consider F1 2016 as the godfather of the current generation of F1 games. It's the first that had the 10-season career mode. It's the first that had R&D and the safety car. But if you think about it, of the current generation of F1 games like F1 22 and F1 2021, maybe F1 23, if they don't have a new engine, which there might not be a new engine for next year, games are still coming out on the old consoles. But even then, I think that's, you know, being used as an excuse for Codemasters for being lazy, and for EA to try to maximise profits, really, as well. So don't be surprised if we see all of this again, you know. But yeah, for me, F1 2023, F1 2020, excuse me, is, if F1 2016 is the godfather, then, you know, this is the father of the games, of the current games, because, you know, it's got MyTeam, which hasn't changed. Yes, F1 2021 had a story mode, which F1 20 that really goes back to F1 2019, but based on MyTeam, which is the and also, you know, career mode as well, the current menus and everything can be traced out to this game. So yeah, let me know what you think about F1 2020 in the comments below, and if you are new around here, then please do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. If there are any other old F1 videos or stuff that you want to see from older F1 games, then let me know in the comments below. Till the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.